The accelerating capabilities of generative artificial intelligence have reignited a long-standing philosophical debate: can a machine genuinely create art? This question is not merely semantic. It implicates our understanding of creativity, authorship, intentionality, and the aesthetic criteria by which we judge works of art. To address it seriously requires moving beyond reductive claims, either that AI is nothing more than a sophisticated mimic or that it has somehow achieved human equivalent creativity, and instead probing the mechanisms, contexts, and consequences of algorithmic aesthetics. Mechanisms of generation. Data, architecture, and training. Contemporary AI art primarily emerges from statistical learning systems trained on large corpora of existing artworks, photographs, texts, and other cultural artifacts. Models such as generative adversarial networks, GANs, diffusion models, and large multimodal transformers learn to represent high-dimensional patterns in these datasets and to sample from those representations to produce novel outputs. Technically, these systems do not encode aesthetic rules or intentions explicitly. They capture correlations, textures, compositional regularities, and stylistic markers across many examples. The apparent novelty of an AI-generated image or composition is a function of recombination, interpolation, and the model's learned probability distribution. This mechanistic account supports the skeptical stance. AI creates outputs by leveraging statistical patterns extracted from human-made artifacts, so what it produces is derivative at root. Yet this view understates how emergent behaviors can arise from complex systems. When models synthesize features across disparate sources or generate artifacts that fit no single prior exemplar, they can produce combinations that surprise human observers. The technical novelty, new juxtapositions, unexpected formal solutions, or novel textures, poses the question: must originality require a human origin to be real originality? Intentionality and authorship, human, machine, or hybrid? A central objection to calling AI outputs art is that machines lack intentionality, the conscious, purposive relationships between creator and creation that are often considered essential to artistic meaning. Artists typically make deliberate choices guided by aims, beliefs, and cultural contexts. They work with intention, frustration, and reflection, and their lives and intentions inform interpretations of their work. AI lacks subjective experience and cannot hold intentions in a phenomenological sense. However, contemporary artistic practice reframes authorship as a distributed activity. Artists choose datasets, tune models, curate outputs, and contextualize results, actions that constitute critical human intent and shape final artifacts. In many AI artworks, human collaborators determine prompts, select promising outputs, post-process results, and embed works within theoretical frameworks. Thus, a hybrid model of authorship emerges. Agency is shared across algorithmic processes and human decision-making. Even when an AI generates unexpected elements, the human in the loop directs the system's scope and meaning. This hybridity suggests the more productive question is not whether machines can intend, but how human and algorithmic intentionalities interact to produce new aesthetic experiences. Aesthetics without experience. Can meaning be machine-made? Art is not only technique, it is also meaning-making. Interpretations hinge on cultural codes, histories, and the perceiver's responses. AI-generated work can evoke emotions, provoke reflection, and catalyze discourse, responses that are central to aesthetic value. If the public and critics consistently find expressive depth or conceptual insight in algorithm-produced works, then functionally those works occupy the same role as traditional art. Philosophers of art distinguish between production-focused and reception-focused theories. Production-focused accounts privilege the creator's intentions, reception-focused accounts emphasize the experience's response. Under a reception-oriented framework, AI-generated artifacts can legitimately be art irrespective of machine subjectivity. Conversely, production-focused theorists will judge AI art incomplete unless human intentionality is traceable in its creation. Both perspectives illuminate different stakes in the debate and highlight why consensus remains elusive. The emergence of a machine voice. One provocative development is the perception that AI can exhibit a distinct voice or style, a consistent set of formal tendencies that characterizes outputs from a model or a prompt engineering approach. This perceived voice is neither purely the models nor the datasets. It results from architecture choices, training corpora biases, hyperparameter settings, and the particular curatorial practices of the human operators. Over time, recognizable aesthetics can emerge from particular systems, or from specific practitioners' prompt repertoires, enabling critics and audiences to attribute a kind of identity to algorithmic production. Is this identity genuine? It depends on whether we demand consciousness for identity or accept patterns and regularities as sufficient. Artistic movements and genres have emerged historically through shared techniques, institutions, and market forces, none of which presuppose a unified subjective author. Similarly, machine-produced voices may be valid forms of collective, distributed authorship that reflect their technical and cultural antecedents. Ethical and cultural implications. Accepting AI as an art-making agent, or as a collaborator, has practical consequences. There are concerns about appropriation. Models trained on artists' work often do so without consent or compensation, raising questions of fairness and cultural theft. There are market impacts. AI-generated works can saturate creative spaces and destabilize livelihoods. There are also epistemic risks. When aesthetic evaluation privileges novelty irrespective of provenance, we may lose vital context about labor, lineage, and intent. Conversely, AI tools can democratize aesthetic practice, enabling new creators to explore forms previously inaccessible due to skill or resource constraints. They can serve as exploratory partners, extending human imagination and proposing formal solutions artists can refine. The task for institutions, galleries, critics, educators, and policymakers is to calibrate ethical norms, attribution practices, and economic frameworks to recognize hybrid authorship and protect creative labor while fostering innovation. A pluralistic conclusion. The question, can AI truly create art, resists a single, definitive answer. A rigorous response recognizes multiple legitimate frameworks for understanding art. If one demands human consciousness and lived intentionality as necessary conditions, then AI cannot create art independently. If one evaluates art by its capacity to generate aesthetic experiences, provoke interpretation, and participate in cultural discourse, then AI-generated artifacts can and do qualify as art, especially when embedded within human-directed contexts. A more productive stance is pluralistic and pragmatic. Treat AI as a new set of instruments and collaborators that transform creative processes and challenge entrenched assumptions about authorship and originality. This view emphasizes responsibility, ethical dataset curation, transparent attribution, fair compensation, and critical literacy, enabling audiences and practitioners to interpret algorithmic works with nuance. Ultimately, the rise of algorithmic aesthetics compels us to rethink what we value in art. Is it the private interiority of genius, the formal novelty of a work, the social practices that produce and interpret it, or some combination thereof? By reframing creativity as an interplay among human intention, cultural context, and emergent computational behaviors, we can appreciate AI-generated art without collapsing complex philosophical distinctions. The future of art will likely be hybrid. Human sensibility amplified by algorithmic production, producing artifacts that expand our aesthetic vocabulary and force continuous ethical and theoretical reflection.